Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all of the panels. Hopes all of you are in pink of health. I would like to thank to all of the audience for attending this forum. I am Zairin as your moderator for today. First of all, in this occasion, we would like to talk about how to manage employee performance. Before this forum begin, I would like to introduce each of the panels. The first one is Ms. Izzati as the Director of S&S Company. Next, Ms. Mahira as Assistant Director, Ms. Zahrina, Ms. Aindatul and Ms. Ainun as Human Resource Planner of the company. Then, Mr. Aiman, Ms. Shamila, Ms. Shazwani as the Manager of the company. And lastly, Ms. Fatin and Mr. Zul from GRV Hotel as Public Relations Staff. Without wasting time, I would like to welcome Ms. Fatin and Mr. Zul to deliver their presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Zairin. Today, I would like to explain about the benefit of an employee performance management and appraisal system. First of all, encouraging quality performance by rewarding those who do well. Rewards are a powerful method for encouraging good job performance. A reward is a consequence that occurs after an employee's quality performance and makes that performance happen more often. Whether a consequence function as a reward depends on its often. Rewarding employees for their job performance is important because when employees know that customers accept a particular level performance, they will be more cooperative about performing at the level than if performance standards seem to be based on managers' whim. Managers give a reward such as gift card, responsibility, small event, flexibility, and more. Employees who make an extra effort to show their employees a fair amount of appreciation will be both in productivity and overall increase a job satisfaction, great employees retention, and it helps to improve a company's competitive position. Next, improve current performance by giving workers feedback. Many companies owners may not realize the importance of providing feedback to their employees to enhance organizations' growth and development. When correctly given, feedback helps improve job performance while promoting professional and personal growth in employees. Often this is not something many of us think about during our hectic daily life. Giving feedback offers many benefits, and when given at the right time with the right constructive and positive message, giving feedback guidance that will enable your workers to learn as well as improve the quality of his or her work. It can also see a difference in how feedback enhance your interpersonal relationship with your employees. That's all from me, and I leave it to Mr. Zul. Thank you.
Thank you to Ms. Fatin for her explanation. So I'm here to talk more about the benefit that can employers get by doing employee performance and evaluation. First by me is employers can simply identify their capabilities and specialties through training needs that organized by a company organization. This is because hiring and retention can become a major problem or challenge for employers, but this can be avoided by professional development. In addition, training needs may allow employees to increase engagement which is each other while in the workplace, because boredom at work can create feelings or unhappiness at work, and also can create negative work habits. Second is the worker could be more positive and disciplined when the company starts fair disciplinary procedures. Through this process, employees will become more efficient and productive in their business. This can be proven. This can be proven when my supervisor always make a small daily meeting before beginning work to ensure that his subordinate staff is always attentive to the surrounding condition and continues to ensure that the mission and vision of the company are on its orientation. Last but not least from me is, as a worker, I believe it is very important to provide the channel of communication between managers and their subordinates to encourage collaboration, enable good motivation, and enhance opportunities for problem solving. Sometimes the best worker will result from a collaborative discussion between team members. So that's all from me. I pass the baton to the moderator to continue. Thank you.
Thanks a bunch, Ms. Fatin and Mr. Zul, for the explanation. The reward that the company gives to their employee can give big impact in their performance and make them more motivated to work hard and contribute to the economy of the company. Next, let's move to Ms. Izzati and Ms. Mahira to give their speech. What is the necessary component in employee performance management?
Thank you to our moderator, Ms. Irene. Today I would like to explain about the component of employee performance management system, which is objective setting. George Ordin in his thesis described management by objective as a process whereby the superior and subordinate manager of an organization jointly identify its common goals. Goal setting is a process of establishing objectives to be achieved over a period of time. Many organizations currently prefer to call objective by the term Key Performance Indicator or KPIs. Whatever term is used for the output which management expect an employee to achieve, clear objectives are needed. Without employee performance cannot be appraisal. Performance goals enable employees to plan or organize their work in accordance with achieving predetermined results or outcomes. By setting and completing effective performance goals, employees are better able to develop job knowledge and skill and help them thrive in their work, take on additional responsibility, or pursue their career aspiration. Without setting clear performance goals, employees may feel aimless about prioritizing and completing their work and disengage in their job. And team can become mired in confusing misunderstanding and conflicts. For both individual and team, the absence of effective goal setting substantially reduces productivity. Although focused attention on performance goals typically happen during the annual evaluation process, goal setting really pay off when employees monitor their goal progress throughout the year, discuss the status of goal with their manager on ongoing and regular basis, and propose and make adjustment to remain on track toward completion. Lastly, the goal should be SMART, S-M-A-R-T, which is specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. I think that's all from me, and thank you for listening. I leave it to my assistant, Ms. Mahira, for an information about the component. Thank you.
Hello to my director, Ms. Izzati. Today I would like to explain about the component of employee performance management system, which is implementation, work, and monitoring. First, I want to tell about implementation of work. Once an employee understands what work is required of him and he has been given adequate training so that he knows how to do the work, he will be assigned tasks and leave to carry them out as best as he can. While the work is being done, his manager should find his time to assess his performance and ensure the work meets the quality and quantity standards required. And in experience, workers may need to be watched all the time to prevent him from making a mistake which might put him, his CO worker, his managers, and the whole community in danger. In an effective performance management system, managers find appropriate ways to regularly monitor the work of their subordinates and give them frequent feedback. Next, about monitoring, according to Williams, who has provided this list of monitoring methods that is observing work operations, reading, writing reports, watching computer screen displays of performance data, inspecting the quality of sample of work, holding progress review meetings, surveying clients and customers to assess their satisfaction with product or service, conducting market surveys to assess customer preferences, and holding meeting after a project or activity is complete to determine what when will and what can be improved, commonly known as post-mortem meetings. Monitoring an employee's performance on a regular basis will allow the manager to take remedial action as soon as possible. Is not. Monitoring is not a passive process of fetching the employee and storing the information gathered to be discussed at a later performance appraisal. The manager should also intervene when the employee is not coping and always making mistakes. The employee may be given coaching on the spot by manager or by a more experienced and competent worker. Otherwise, he may be sent for a formal training program if he lacks key skills or knowledge needed to perform well. That's all from me about the implementation of work and monitoring for the workers and manager. Thank you.
Your speech is full of useful content, Ms. Izzati and Ms. Mahira. In my opinion, objective setting and implementation of work and monitoring is an important component for employee performance management systems. Besides that, how to design an appraisal system in human resource management? Ms. Zarina, Ms. Aindatul and Ms. Ainun, can you tell us the way to design this system?
Okay, first of all, I want to thank our moderator, Ms. Zairin Fariza, because have invited me in this meeting. As we know, Human Resource Department is responsible to manage and design an appropriate systems of performance appraisal for employee. An effective appraisal system have certain characteristics like the way they integrated into performance management systems, how they receive the top management support, how they customize the needs, and so on. The performance appraisal cannot be standalone function. So as a human resource planning, we need to help all the employee to remain good at any system. So the main purpose is to ensure that the employee current work is evaluated so they can be assisted to improve their level of work hard. In the event of bias in performance appraisal, this will affect other employee. Some employees are very good at apple polishing, which is they know how to bother their bosses, and they ensure they can put in plenty of practice just before an annual appraisal exercise. So to avoid the problem like recency effect, halo effect, strictness tendency, prejudice, and also fatigue, we have to help the company to planning all over again so that the such problems, like I said just now, can be avoided. So I leave it to my comrade in arms, which is Ms. Aindatul, to gain more information about how to design an appraisal system.
Hello everyone. First of all, thank you to our moderator, Ms. Zairin, and also thank you to Ms. Zarina for your explanation. My name is Nur Aindatul Adabia binti Mama Rosmi. You guys can call me Ms. Aindatul or Ms. Ain. I work as a HR planning, so I will talk about parties involved in performance appraisal. Okay, the meaning of performance appraisal is about a routine analysis of the job performance of an employee and the overall contribution to a company. It is also often known as an annual review, performance review or appraisal, or employee assessment. A performance appraisal evaluates an employee's skill, achievement, and also progress of an employee or leg career. Alright, the various options available when deciding who should be involved directly in the performance appraisal, which is employee. This is, for example, here we have 4. First is the employee's manager, employee's co-workers, employee subordinates, and also customers or clients are the parties. Okay, when establishing a performance appraisal system, the human resource specialist must decide who is to be involved in giving information about an individual worker. This data, which will be input into the system, must be as reliable as possible. Okay, besides, manager, being fallible human beings, are liable to bias. Okay, here is one way how to reduce bias is to collect information about an individual worker from as many sources as possible. Hence, the purpose of self-appraisal is to see there is a gap in perception about the worker's abilities and performance. Okay, peer evaluation is an excellent way of gaining additional information about the individual worker. Okay, no one will know him more than his co-workers who see him when the manager is not around. Okay, for the last one, now there are many companies experimenting with collecting the performance appraisal data from the variety of sources. Okay, the consultant who may be a professional coach will work with employee on an action plan designed to any weaknesses identified by the appraisers. Okay, this is the way for the system becomes a powerful tool for development of employees. Alright, that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Aindatul, for your good explanation. So, I will continue about frequency of appraisals. Most companies appraise the performance of workers who are completing a probationary period. It is normal practice to require a new employee to undergo a probationary period when they are first recruited or when they are promoted to a higher position within the organization. The purpose of this period to see whether the new worker is capable of doing the job he has been recruited for, whether he fits into the organizational culture. The majority of companies do annual appraisal, although the recency is most pronounced with this system. Alternatively, performance can be evaluated every 6 months or even on a quarterly basis. Even when the appraisals is carried out annually or semi-annually, informal monitoring of the employees should be ongoing and continuous, and the managers should give constant feedback to their employees when they observe and the employees' performance. There are 3 commons of appraisal method, which is cooperative procedures, trade rating skills, and essay technique. For the cooperative procedures, this is the simplest method to use, especially when the supervisor has only a few subordinates. With this method, the manager is required to rank the subordinate according to a normal curve. Probably, the most popular appraisal method used today is the rating scale. This method, depending on the nature of the job. The factors may be personality-based traits, performance-related behaviors, results, or combination of these factors. These key performance indicators are generally crucial in deciding on whether the employee is performing at an acceptable level. The last one is the essay technique. This method requires effort on the part of the supervisors to find the right word to describe the subordinates.
This is a good description for designing an appraisal system. I totally agree with your statements because appraisal system is one of the important ways to evaluate employees during performing their tasks. Last but not least, what the company can do to implement employees in the appraisal system.
Hello everyone, thank you Zairan for your explanation. Therefore, I will continue the evaluation interview. Before I explain, I will tell you in advance what the implementation of the evaluation system. Evaluation method should be done appropriately planned. 2 important steps should be taken to ensure the success of its implementation. First, it is important that employers understand the system and are informed of profound factors that will influence their assessment. Second, managers must be trained on how to implement the evaluation state, especially the interview or evaluation discussion, which is important part of the system, but also the most difficult aspect. Without training, possible misinterpretation of assessment and poor evaluation. Next, I will explain about the appraisal interview. The vast majority of managers who use appraisal interview are a very poor process and require specialized skill to conduct interview well. Evaluation discussion on this attribute must be part of an ongoing mentoring program so that they continue to improve their knowledge and abilities. The purpose of the evaluation interview to provide feedback to employers who need to be aware of their strengths and awareness, and he was able to expand his potential and improve. Many people find it difficult to analyze their own abilities. Sender believes that helping successful employees is a key function of manager and suggests that interview or assessment must have a specific purpose to will to negotiate with subordinates. Assistance will be provided the action plan and sets to be provided. Evaluation discussion in helping employees improve their performance not only depend on the ability of the manager but on the physical environment and scheduling of discussion. This will ensure that the implementation of the session runs smoothly.
Counseling employees. Managers need to offer a range of service to employees in order to promote productivity. Helping employees and perform satisfactorily may require a combination of non-directive counseling, advice giving and information giving, teaching and coaching. In most cases where employees has a problem, the managed counselor role is to assist the worker to identify the nature of the problems, explore alternative ways to solve the problem, and help develop plan for the workers to follow. When counseling, the manager should action and listening skill. The non-verbal environment. There are two aspects of the non-chat environment which should be touched about carefully by the manager involved in counseling. The physical setting of the discussion is important. It should be comfortable, private, and informal. The first two requirements are usually satisfied by the normal condition in a manager's office, but the third way lead to some difficulties because of the superior-subordinate relationship between the parties. It may be problematic for the managers to provide the information which is required for effective counseling. For this reason, human resources practitioners must also develop counseling. Daily listening element need for training. The educational system teach a problem how to listen. Learning to read is more important than learning to listen. A person can will himself to listen when disrupt. Listening is passive and require no skill or effort. Learn to tolerate silence. When one party in a discussion keep quiet, the other feel about a good listener should not be a talker. It is the responsibility of the counselors to encourage the other part to talk. Questions can use for a variety of purposes. And if effective listener is careful to ask appropriate question, the worker who has a problem will not be able to explain it clearly. He may introduce relevant point. Thus, in order to clarify the situation, the counselor needs to gentle problem for information. The type of question used depend on the purpose of the question. Open-ended question to encourage the worker to talk open-ended question. Ideal example are how do you feel about, what do you think caused that problem, tell me about. Paraphrasing our mirror question, counselors must take care not to judge the worker who has a problem. Some question may confuse or even irritate the worker, especially if he is already angry or upset. Look and listen hard. No-verbal signal or body language a great deal about the worker's emotional and state of mind. If the worker refuses to look the manager in the eyes, and if he is whirling in his car, it will signify he is not telling the full touch of he is trying to hide something. The better the manager know he subordinate, will be the read. The meaning of the subordinate's body language. It is entirely natural to have certain prejudice and bias. All we hear and see are filtered touch of perception system, which is a result of your attitude, background, and physical career.
Thank you, Ms. Shamila, for the explanation. I am Nur Syazani Shaira binti Muhammad Rusli. Okay, so I will continue about after the appraisal interview. After a discussion has been held between the supervisor and each of his subordinates, appropriate follow-up action must be taken. If the subordinate has performed well, he should be rewarded. Okay, dealing with an employee's poor performance is a key task for all managers. Wherever possible, an attempt must be made to improve the employee performance. An effective appraisal will not any signal that the employee's performance is under par. It will also make it clear why the employee not meeting the standard required of him.
Once the manager is able to pinpoint these deficiencies, he can look for a reason why the employee is not performing at acceptable level. Alternatively, the employee's performance may be affected by a temporary personal problem. Okay, the industrial court has established guidelines which need to be followed before an employer dismiss employee on the ground of poor performance. Okay, to summarize this court guideline, okay, there are three. First, before dismissing an employee who is not reaching reasonable standard of performance, the employer must give written warning to the employee in which he is clearly told what are the problems with his performance. Okay, next, the employee must be given sufficient time to improve. Okay, the third one is the employee must be assisted to overcome this performance problem by appropriate counseling as well as formal and informal training. It is common practice for employer to give up to 3 written warning. Okay, evaluating performance management system. Human resource staff are responsible for establishing a suitable performance management system for the organization and training all employees. Moreover, they must traditionally evaluate the effectiveness of the system. This evaluation requires information on the effectiveness of system and data whether or not employee perceive the system as fair and transparent. Clearly, if a group of employees have negative perception, the system needs to be tweaked or modified as soon as possible. Okay.
Overall, this explanation about the implement employee in appraisal system delivered by the panel is very clear without any questions. As a conclusion for this forum, we can conclude that the employee performance management and appraisal system is an important factor in producing a good quality of employees. As an organization, the company plays an important role in building a competitive company. Finally, we have come to the end of our forum for today. I would like to dedicate a billion thanks again to everyone that participated in this talk. Thank you very much for spending your time and Assalamualaikum.